Truthfully Speaking Grace is a global podcast dedicated to connecting, celebrating, and inspiring listeners with empowering conversations. Join host Agatha Corbin as she gracefully builds with real people, sharing real stories, and unlocking real enlightening truth. Welcome. This is Truthfully Speaking Grace podcast with your amazing host, Agatha Corbin, giving you real conversation with powerful topics and connecting with real inspirational people from all over the world. So sit back, relax, and let's get this podcast started. Welcome to Truthfully Speaking Grace podcast, the February 2021 edition. This is under our theme for Black Love Matters. And the reason why I am excited about these series is because we're highlighting about the male view when it comes to love and relationship and image and who they are and the female side of it. And then we're going to have some guests later on this month from relationships to marriage to single life. But tonight I have two wonderful gentlemen, Eric Ramsey and Andray Johnson, two of the wonderful models of LA Gray calendar. And I'm just going to let them introduce themselves. We're going to start off with you, Eric. Tell the audience about yourself and who you are and why you're here.
Oh, well, my name is Eric Ramsey, as you said. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, graduate of Auburn University. I played football at Auburn, and I got drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs back in 1991. But that didn't work out quite like I wanted to, so I started to pursue acting and modeling. But I ended up being a writer, producer, director, where I met my brother and good friend, Andray Johnson, who I'm going to turn it over to now.
Just a little quick there, Eric.
We can ask more questions later.
Messing with you. We family. Go ahead, Andray.
I was born and raised, come from Chicago, Illinois. Actually, my sport as a young man, amongst other things, I favored in swimming. And my goal was to compete in the 1980 Olympics. I was very good. I did a lot of city and state competitions, but there was a boycott in the 1980 Olympics. So because of my aquatic, specialty, I was coerced by my best friend to join the Marines. And so I joined the Marines. I served for 6 years. Afterwards, I got comfortable with the warm weather San Diego. And so as I got out, I decided to stay in San Diego. And then a job transfer took me to LA. Now, the interesting thing, this is about 1990. When I moved to LA, everyone thought I was the guy from Miami Vice.
No, really?
Yeah, they were like, hey, you that? Well, okay, wait, I'm not trying to put anybody down. Let me say, white people would say, hey, aren't you that guy from Miami Vice? How's Don Johnson? And I mean, it would get to the point where people would take pictures with me and I would feel bad. I was like, I'm not him. And they would laugh, but I just went with it. And so someone said, you should try acting. The funny thing I always joke with Eric is I say, when I wasn't acting, people used to always ask if I was an actor. When I started pursuing acting, no one asked.
No one asked? Really?
No one ever. I mean, no. When I was pursuing acting, no one ever stopped me and said, hey, aren't you an actor? Because I'd be like, yeah, I just did some work on General Hospital. But I met Eric. Was it a music video, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, what music video, Eric? What was y'all doing?
It was a Lil Wayne. It was a Lil Wayne video.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't for real.
Was it the one Got Money? Got Money video. Yeah.
I thought it was Got Money. And we were cops. And what happened was Eric's car ran out of gas and they forgot about him. And so they left Eric in a hood in a cop car.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
Police car, yeah. Not my car, the police car, yeah. Yeah.
After a while, I was saying, hey, what happened to that other brother we were with, that cop? And they were like, I think they wrapped him. And then someone said, no, man, I think he's still in the neighborhood. I said, dude, it's getting kind of dark. We gotta go get that brother. So I guess they sent the Teamster down and because the cop car, I guess, ran out of gas.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
No way. What
Yeah,
a
true story. True story. Yeah.
Yeah. And Eric was all crying. He said they were about to beat him up and take his
He
cop
lied.
car from him.
He lying now.
Eric was
He's
like,
lying.
man.
Actor. That's the actor. That's him being
like,
the actor.
Man, that was a real rough neighborhood. They was gonna take my cop car from me. I told them I was an actor. I have a real gun. I'm like, wait, you had a real gun.
I don't remember that version. That's Andray's version of the story.
That's that acting. That's his version.
Yeah.
But that's the story we said. And people then thought we were related. They thought we were brothers. And sometimes I would come from auditions and they were like, "Oh, hey, Eric, did you forget something?" I'm like, "Eric, no, I'm Andray. I haven't auditioned yet." Yeah. And that happened a few times. And I would always say to them, "Dude, I got to start getting to the audition before you so that they would think you're the one late, not me."
Yeah. So Eric, now, how long have you said you transitioned from modeling, maybe a little acting, into filmmaking. So we'll get into that later. Let's first talk about the calendar.
Okay.
So tell me, I mean, are you're the developer of it first? I mean, what made
I produced it. I got the guys together. I paid for them to be shot, and I paid for the copies of the calendars. Yes.
Okay. So what sparked you to want to do such a
the funny thing is that, Andray and I both, we always get told that, we're handsome this, we're handsome that.
Yes.
And so I happened to post something with me, Andray, and a couple other silver foxes on Facebook, and I said, we should do a calendar. One of our friends who they tried to take credit for it, but I was like, well, in order for you to take credit for it, you have to be the person that make it happen. And so they said that they did it first, but then they never had a real concept. And so I said, well, time went by, and then about 3 years later, I was telling Andray and Kelvin, since we were already doing a shoot for a movie, I said we should just start the pictures and everything now for the LA Gray calendar. And so what we did was we got together and just posed, and the guy Bobby Quillard, the guy who shot the calendar, we got him to just take a picture and said we'll use this for the cover.
Wow. Now, when I go through it, I mean, you have all of these gentlemen. So they were in other parts of the country. Yes, how did you get? Yes. Okay. So it's a collaboration.
We had a gentleman by the name of Dwayne Fish. He shot the guys in the Maryland. No, I'm sorry. He shot the guys in the New Jersey area. Mm-hmm. And then we had a guy named Marcus Red that shot the guys in Atlanta. In the Atlanta area, and then Bobby Quillard shot all the California guys.
Yeah, because we don't have a lot of calendars like this with, I'd say the more distinguished brothers, and so that's what sparked my interest. Like, this is a calendar for grown folks, for grown women.
Very much so. Very much so.
Grown women. So
but the funny thing, though, is that a young lady by the name of Crystal Coney, she has the role of being, she's played either the wife or the girlfriend of all three of us, and she's in our present movie, and she's been in some kind of relationship with all three of us. Did you know that, Andray?
Yes, I am very aware of that.
Yeah. I just realized that the other day. I said Krista have been with all of us.
Just acting with me.
Acting, me too. Right. Same thing,
yeah. Yeah, please clean that up. I don't want any calls. Roll that back. So now, as far as the calendar, so how many models altogether?
There's I think a total of 18 guys that actually shot, but there's a 24-month calendar where some guys are shown more than once to go into. It's from January 2021 until to December 2022.
Okay. And Andray, how did you enjoy doing it? How did you feel about such a calendar?
Well, here's the fun. Well, when Eric cast me for this role, John Williams, in the Company of Assassins, I was like, there's going to be fight scenes. So I actually put myself on this diet so I can lean. So I lost about 22 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where in a tank top or no shirt, you can see that I was pretty lean and chiseled. But when I wore regular clothes, people were like, hey, are you okay? You lost a lot of weight. I'm like, well, yeah, I lost 23 pounds for this role and yada, 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 yada. So when we did one of the fight scenes, I was like, the ladies were like, dude, what have you been doing? And I was like, oh, I did this and I did that. And so COVID came and I got comfortable. So when Eric was going to do the shoot, I said, you have any good footage of me back when we shot a lot of the major stuff? Because, I fell into dad mode a little bit. And so Eric was like, no, you still got it. So what he did is he was able to take current shots and then older shots that we had to put them together. So I really didn't have like a photo session in particular just for this. They used the photo session I did for the film for this.
Oh,
and
wow.
plus I was my acting started to pick up with auditions, and then I was doing the Peloton commercial, and then I was doing the T-Mobile commercial, and then I was doing this pilot for TV. So I was extremely, extremely busy. So I was telling Eric, you got to pick a day that I'm not, that I'm free, that I can, that I would be able to make sure that I'm available for the time you need it.
Andray, I just saw the T-Mobile commercial again yesterday. I thought they had stopped running it, but I saw it again yesterday.
No, I just opened the envelope for residual today, and they notified me that it's gonna go until I think March the 2nd.
Nice.
Well, congratulations. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your profession as far as Eric. You were telling me when we first met, as far as the first Zoom, about your production company and your filming. So me and the audience would love to hear more about that and your experience as being a Black male producer in this industry.
Right. It's funny because when I moved here back in 2005, I had visions of grandeur to be this amazing actor and everything. But I soon realized no matter how fit I was and how great I looked, everybody was fit and looked great. So what I decided to do, I just said it would be better. I like writing. I like making movies. And one of the reasons I became a writer, producer, director was because I wanted to put my friends in my movies. And as Andray can attest to that, he's been like one of the major characters in all of my movies that I've produced. And I have 4 to my credit. One is called the first one was called Unspeakable Indiscretions, where Andray played this uncle who was a pedophile, and then I did another one called Cainable, like Cain and Abel. You can find that one actually on Amazon Prime, and then I did another one that has yet to come out called Old Bryce. But Old Bryce was about this hospital in Alabama. And then the most recent one that Andray is also in, he's in, and Andray, you're in Old Bryce too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in Old Bryce. I'm in Old Bryce and Cainable.
Yeah. And then and Unspeakable too.
Yeah.
And then we have the newest one where it's called In the Company of Assassins, and Andray plays the lead character in that one as well. So he's definitely been like my brother, and everybody think I'm kind of biased towards him, but I just think when I met him and we became really close friends, I realized that he had and that I don't know anybody that works harder at, to be at his craft than Andray. And so I like to reward people for working hard and everything. And so, and that's why a lot of times, I mean, I did go away from him being the main character, but then I went right back to that because I saw, how hard he works and how much he really wants. And I know most of the time, 99.9% of the time, when I ask Andray to do something, then he does it, and he does it really well. And you can tell he's convicted and making sure that he gives me what I want. And so that's why, you want somebody working with you like that. And that's the brotherhood and the teamwork thing that we have. So
the teamwork. So tell me about, what's the name of your production company again?
It's called Team Ramsey Entertainment.
Team Ramsey.
It's with my wife Nicole. She's she's the first lady. She's really the boss, but I just step out and make
Normally we are.
Yes, very much
yeah.
so. Very much so. Yeah.
So I mean, and how many years have you been in this part of the business as far as?
Well, I've been doing it basically since like 2010.
Okay.
But with the movie, a lot of them earlier movies were short films, but and then where I was doing some acting in them myself.
Yeah.
Then starting in like 2014 on, it's just been basically me being a writer, producer, director.
And I always want to, because I did another podcast last summer with another Afro-American and Hispanic men that own a production company like yourselves. And I always ask them and other guests, how is your walk as a Black man in the entertainment industry? Can you talk about the good, the bad, and the wonderful?
yeah, definitely can. But the good thing is that what Nicole and I do, we don't look at as the bad as bad. We look at the bad as like a learning experience because in this industry, trying to navigate it, there's situations where we've had people who tried to claim the movie, the movies for themselves just because they spent so much time working on it. We've had people that's supposed to have been trying to get it on the different streaming formats, pretty much have taken off, didn't pay 1 cent to be a part of the movie. But once they, you went to them to try to say, okay, well, maybe they can get us, on Netflix, maybe they can get us on Amazon. But when they do that, they take the credit as the producer when they hadn't spent 1 penny on the movie. So
wow.
Like I said, you just look at everything as a learning experience. The good is that, you work with some great people. Fortunately enough, for the most part, with some help from, Andray and a couple other friends, we've been able to, do the movies with our own funding. But the next projects, just based on all the work that I've done, I'm looking to have the next projects financed by somebody who can really give me some money, so I can add a lot more substance to, meaning substance, I mean, like, say if I want a stadium, I can get a whole stadium and have people in it, well, since COVID, things have changed, but just the example I'm trying to use where, the projects are gonna become bigger, and so there's gonna be,
that's your next goal,
right? So, and that's gonna be the need for more income.
So you want a bigger budget.
Exactly. But I pay all my actors, and so, but and the actors are being paid from working as a security officer. I mean, well, I own a security company as well, Ramsey Security, and that has helped a lot with making sure that we get the movies funded and done. But and also
that kept is awesome.
The people. Yeah.
Wow. And so Andray, you as an actor, as a Black male in the acting realm, in the entertainment, talk about the good and the bad and the ugly and the wonderful for you.
I was already what one would say a mature guy. I wasn't a young guy when I started out. I was already a mature guy. I already kind of like, I had gray in my hair, but people was like, oh, you got to color that out, because you got to, wow, make yourself look younger. One of the blessings is that I kind of got in working behind the scenes. So I was able to take really solid advice from Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, Malcolm Jamal Warner, David. I almost said David Allen Greer. Wasn't David Allen Greer? I actually just recently posted something of an advice that Denzel had given me. And, I was trying to acting. I kind of left the business a couple of times because I just couldn't earn the income that I thought that I deserved. And one of the things that several black leading men, they basically said, you have to make the decision. Do you want to do this strictly to make money, or do you have the passion for the art itself?
For the art.
Because sometimes you can't have both. And I realized that because after I walked away from acting for about 5 years, I realized it's something that I wanted to do. Even if I couldn't make a lot of money, it was just something that, don't get me wrong, I don't want to starve, but it was something that I wanted to do. And I never forget, I don't know if you ever had an opportunity, but when you ever speak with Denzel, he's very curt and to the point. It's like,
that's what I heard.
That's it, I'm done.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
And so he said, then just act. And that was it. And so I remember saying, okay, well, I'm just going to act. And that has kind of been it for me. I have met challenges because there's a certain integrity of roles that I look for. Okay. I want to tell the story of different people. I know all good people in the world aren't good, but you can tell the story of a bad person and you can still have an integrity of the film itself. So I try to look for projects where there's some type of integrity. As I've said and been told, you can learn something from a behind whooping. So sometimes a movie can be just that. It could be a difficult piece of cinema to watch and absorb, but we can learn something from it. And so to me, that's the integrity of the film. And sometimes, I'm just going to say, well, I'm asked to do stuff and I'm like, no, I'm not comfortable with that. I'll pass. But sidebar is, even when Eric first approached me with Unspeakable Indiscretions and he was like, hey man, I just saw this project, you're perfect for this. And I read the script. I was like, dude, I can't play this role.
That was a dark role.
Yes, I actually turned the role down 3 times. And finally, my then wife and Eric was like, well, what is it? What do you fear? Because Eric was like, dude, there's something that you are afraid of. And I finally said, I don't want people to see this movie and say, that's you.
Yeah, it still follow you. You didn't want it to follow you.
Like, oh, you're that person. And the most amazing thing happened. I got a chance to work with Anthony Hopkins. And I threw it at him. Yes. Fractured was the name of the film. Small part. And he seemed to gravitate, it could have been I was the brother in the scene. So, and I asked him about how did he feel about the fear of his portrayal of, Hector in Silence of the Lambs. And he said, if you play a role that well, or people think you are that person, then you, my friend, have achieved the epitome of acting.
Yeah.
He said, that's what you want. And so with that, I was like, okay. So I had no fear. It's like I wasn't afraid of someone saying, you played that role so well because that's who you are. Whatever. If you want to feel about that way, whatever. So I was looking for that. So, I when I booked the Tyler Perry show, the executive producer said, one thing we liked about you is that your audition tape made us think we were actually there at a vigil. And that's what you want. You want people to believe that they were there. When we went to the screening for Unspeakable Indiscretion, once the person next to me realized who I was, she got up and moved. And I was like,
oh, so you was that real.
When she realized I was that person in the movie, she looked at me, rolled her eyes, and skipped over.
I gotta go.
And then Andray,
like,
somebody called you out.
One lady even said to me, I was so, you needed to be killed. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah. Somebody called him out on the streets before. Also, remember that?
Don't tell him. You need to stop messing with them boys, man.
Oh wow! You was like, okay, just
so I was like, hey, that's what I wanted. I wanted people to think I am that person, and that's cool because you're gonna have that. You're gonna have people who say, "Hey, that was just an acting role," and then you're gonna have people who you made them believe you, and that's what you want.
Exactly.
So being the mature Black males in this profession, have you had the opportunity, Eric and Andray, this is for both of you, to kind of maybe mentor others that want to get into this industry and give them, particularly for our young African-American females and males who are going into this? And and I mean, I am so grateful to God that a lot of them are going into, like you, Eric, going into owning it, writing it, producing it, directing it, you know what I mean? Really do the craft. And there are a lot of young male, female, more Black actors. One thing about streaming, as my millennials have told me, I mean, they watch everything on streaming. So with that, you're seeing more Black actors.
Yes.
That's
I've gotten quite a few. The good thing, the dynamic thing about what I'm doing as a writer, producer, director, and owning a security company, I've gotten on the security side. I've gotten people who like, man, but we just did something for we got a contract with Caffeine TV, where they do like the rap battles and all that stuff like that. And so a lot of people say, man, this your company? And I'm like, yeah, and so they see the Ramsey security shirts and everything.
Yeah.
So now I want to own a security company. I said, well, you keep working, it's because for years I worked for somebody else, another African-American gentleman. I worked for years, and I'll be honest, making $15 an hour for someone else driving from 100 miles a day. But at the same time, people thought, well, why are you working so little? I said, no, what I'm doing is I'm learning the business and I'm being patient. I said, when God is ready for me to take over mine, then I will. And so last year, I decided to go ahead and do Ramsey Security full time. And I employ like 8 to 10 people on a given basis, but 4 people full time. And we all have made, I've made 5-10 times more money than I was making at that $15 an hour. Let's just say that.
And then it's yours.
and God gets all the glory. And then on the
Amen.
On the production side, just we have a lot of young people that they go to mostly to Nicole, asking about how they can be a part of Team Ramsey Entertainment, because a lot of times I don't know what it is, but people always say I look intimidating, and I'm like, I'm the nicest guy in the world. But
well, you know what? My marketing person that does all my wonderful graphics, when you did one of your pictures, one of my ads, he even said, he said, he looks a little intimidating.
I know, right?
But I'm different, as you could tell. So I took it as that, it was artistic. It was wonderful to me, but for a marketing person, I just want to let you know, he said the same. He didn't even know you, and he was like, "It's a nice picture, but he look a little intense."
Yeah, I get that a lot, But like I said, but at the same time, once you get enough, I'm a very nice guy, and so we're doing everything we can to bring on young people and to try to get them into production and learning how to write. I mean, become writers, producers, and at the same time, it's rewarding for us to be able to help young people and bring them on.
Oh, I praise God for such a wonderful group of talent and how you're being a leader in this industry, because they need it. We need it.
Yes.
So let's go back to the calendar. When you produce the calendar and you're selling it, tell my audience who's your audience that you want to purchase this calendar.
Well, well, look. If I was someone doing marketing, I would just say anybody who wants to buy it. But but the goal the goal for the calendar was to show a different side of especially men of color.
Yes.
You can educated, fit, good-looking guys, who don't have to necessarily take their shirts off, but they can still be, attractive to women, to the mature woman, and basically, like I said, just someone who wants to just to see something different. That was the main goal, just to see something different. Gray hair, and then the thing where everybody wore gray, basically. So, and then we could have did a color. It could have been a calendar in color, which would have looked just as good. But I figured we were just going to stick with the gray theme throughout.
We love it. We love it, guys.
Thank you.
We love it. Great. Silver foxes.
Thank you.
And let me add, I had taken maybe a half a dozen calendars to the post office. My aunt and a couple of my sister's friends who she came out of high school with had requested one. And the mail clerk, young, beautiful African-American woman, I would say 28 to 32, age-wise. And when I told her that it was a calendar, she was trying to see, like the best rate for the quickest route, to take. She was really, she was really doing an effort to helping me get these packages mailed. And so since the next time I went to the post office, I had a calendar. I took it for her and I said, hey, this is what I was mailing, and I really appreciate you taking care of me. And maybe tell your mom that this was a customer at the post office. Would you think your mom would be interested? And so she flashed through it. She was like, each one was like, wow, whoa, whoa. And then she was like, oh my God, that's you for March. I'm like, yeah, that's me for March. And then she says, oh yeah, my mom would love this. Thank you. And that was it. Week go by, I go to the post office again, and she says, I owe you an apology. She says, I didn't get that calendar to my mom. She says, and all my friends are like, ooh, these are some good looking old cats. And so, but it's so, yeah, it's that, I think there was something about that mature guy that just keeps himself together.
Yeah.
I think that's appealing to a young woman as well as it is to a mature woman. I think it's like
it's a breath of fresh air.
Thank you. I wasn't gonna say that, but I'm agreeing with you.
It's a breath of fresh air because even for our young ladies, because like I said, I've shown, and I know a lot of people in the industry, all over, whether it be business, community, marketing, entertainment, especially a lot of sisters. And when I showed that, they was like, oh my God, we got to have that. Where did you get that? I mean, because we don't get to see handsome, distinguished, well-mannered, well-dressed, it remind me of the old school. Like I had a distinguished, tall father that loved to dress. I mean, that's what I grew up with, me and my mom. And I had two brothers. One was in the military. I know the military, that it's very regimented, very way you kept yourself, and the way you look is how also the way you carry yourself. And I like it because it gives us hope that, men do like to exist like that. And also for the young women that this, kind of bring up the level to the young men, to say, hey, you don't always have to, have baggy pants off of you, or, all this other image that in the entertainment world that they're just shoved with. I mean, don't you think that it's nice to have a little?
Well, the crazy thing, I'll say, I've done several calendars, and I've done with clothes on, I've done with clothes off, and I feel like the ones with the clothes off, this one is probably one of my better calendars. I mean, the good thing is that I did one called R-rated, but it was just all me by myself, and I won't bring that one back out.
Okay.
But just doing this calendar and being able to share other guys and showcase other people, it was it's very rewarding that it wasn't just all about me. It was about my friends and brothers and everybody else, and people get to enjoy everybody. And so instead of the lady at the DMV just asking about me, and because I'm married, she get to ask about other guys who are single in the calendar.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
so I can tell all of my girlfriends that there are some single, because they told me to ask that. It was like,
we've got
single.
Yeah, there's several single people in there, but my thing is, I'm like, if you want to meet them, buy a calendar first. Don't just tell them, I'm not just gonna give the information away for free. You purchase a calendar, and we'll see what we can come up with.
It's all about one thing you'll find about me, I'm all about my business, and I'm always about promoting business, particularly Black business. I don't apologize for that, especially ones that are trying to do what God is telling them to do. And move it in that, in that vein. So I'm excited. I am so honored that you took the time out from your acting and filming and producing just to get on my little podcast.
Well, no, we appreciate you inviting us. We definitely wanted to do the show, and we really appreciate you taking the time to invite us. And I'm looking forward to the other one on the 21st as well.
On Sunday, yes. And again, if one of you can talk, just tell us real quick, Andray, tell us what's your next gig that we should be looking out for on TV.
Well, I just finished. I have a web series that's coming out, Weird Times. That should be, I thought they said that's going to drop it somewhere February, March. I just completed a video with, I signed, the problem is, a lot of times I sign these confidentiality, and they say, well, you can't even mention the artist or the name of the project.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. But I will say it's not Beyonce, but it's a huge female. Probably I would say next to Beyonce, one of the top huge female pop artists. I appeared in her next project. Yeah.
Well, Agatha, he'll be starring in his own movie, in the Company of Assassins. That will be out. We're actually finishing up on that. So I think initially what we're going to do, we're going to stream it on our new website, Team Ramsey Entertainment website. So we're going to start watching on there first. We're going to do a soft screening with Andray and several other cast members. So probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be getting that out. It's called In the Company of Assassins. What I'll do is I'll put the trailer, I'll email you the trailer information as well as the calendar information, and that way you can let people know what's happening with that.
Okay, well, audience, once we get this information on the podcast, we are going to be on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Google, I am on the ISO podcast and streaming, so our audience will see those wonderful trailers. Again, what's the name of your production company and your website, Eric?
It's Team Ramsey Entertainment. The website is teamramseyentertainment.us right now. I'm probably gonna get a new name because, like I said, we've revamped the whole thing where we can be able to accommodate being able to watch the movies that Team Ramsey Entertainment have made on the website. So you can you'll be able to, for a small fee, you can watch our movies on our website as well, before we get them trying to get them out to Amazon and Netflix and all those other platforms.
All right. And again, audience, if you can see it, is LA Gray calendars. We'll make sure we have the links where you can purchase it. You can purchase it online. And then we'll also have other information and contact information on getting it shipped to you. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Andray. And thank you, audience. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you again, Eric, on the other side this weekend, talking about Black Love Matters.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. God bless.
God
See you,
bless
Andray.
you guys.
All right. Wakanda forever.
Thanks for listening to Truthfully Speaking Grace Podcast. Stay tuned for another episode with more real conversations, celebrating real and inspiring people from all around the world.